confidence is such a big part of kind of living out your dreams. If you're kind of going into something and you're not fully committing, and if you don't believe truly that it can happen, then it won't. So I think so much, I wasn't always like this. It's something that I've had to build, and I've had to build the confidence to be aware of how I speak, especially how I speak to myself and how I speak to others, instead of saying, you know what, it's a long out dream that I want to happen, but maybe it will, maybe it won't. All I'm saying, it's going to happen. It will happen. Somewhere in this universe, it's already happened, and I'm just waiting for that to come into fruition.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Do you hear that, folks? For anybody listening to this thinking it might not happen, it will happen, okay? It will happen. Katie said it, written in stone.
Yes, absolutely. And I think when you come at it like that, you're really just telling the universe, I'm ready. And the universe will respond to that. And you continue preparing. Like for me, part of the reason I haven't actually applied yet is I haven't found that clarity into my heart where I say, you know what, this is the season. This is when you're ready. I know it's going to happen, but I'm still in the process of preparing. And I think the work that I'm doing is so aligned with their mission and so aligned with my own that I have confidence it's going to bring me to where I want to go.
That's incredible. So you're waiting on the lookout, and you're really listening to yourself, listening internally. Yep. Is this the time?
Yep, absolutely.
Amazing, my friend, amazing.
Again, that self-awareness part is so key, because I know that had I applied 2 years ago, had I applied 4 years ago when I first, got attached to them, it wouldn't have worked out. And I think knowing yourself and knowing when is the time, and knowing that you can have that mission, but you can know that, okay, now is a season that I have to build up those skills to get where I want to go. I think that takes a lot of humility and self kind of knowledge, where you know yourself and know like where you are in your journey. But I think it's an incredibly valuable skill to say this season needs to be spent on growth, on growing to the skills and the mindset that's going to take me where I want to go.
That's beautiful, Katie. I would highly agree. I think it does take a lot of humbleness to really be able to take a step back. And it just, as soon as you said that, my first thought was, I had the idea of starting like a YouTube channel and social media back in, I think, like 2018, but I didn't actually act on it until 2019.
Yeah.
And I remember for a long time, I was like, man, why didn't I just start the moment I had the idea? And really what you were saying totally resonated with me, because even though I had the idea, I just wasn't like, I wasn't ready, really. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't in the right headspace. So I totally agree.
Absolutely. And I think this point is very counterculture, because I think our culture, especially kind of this hustle culture, tells you that immediately when you have the idea, you need to go for it. You need to establish yourself on every single social media platform. You need to be posting 10 times a day. There are these set in rules that don't really align with, knowing yourself. They don't align with this idea of seasons and this idea of patience as well, and creating sustainable models for growth and for success. I think they run into burnout culture, quite honestly, because as my brother has put it in conversations I've had with him, they create this ring of fire where you're spreading yourself too thin and you have this huge flame at first, but you burn out very quickly because you don't have that core. And I think knowing yourself and knowing what seasons need what is incredibly valuable perspective to really grow something sustainable, valuable, and powerful. So again, just knowing yourself and saying, you know what, sometimes I can have an idea, but I'm not always going to go for every single idea I have, because I have the wisdom to know that in this season, I need to focus on this.
That is so, so, so important. You're right. Not to act on every single idea. You're right. You're totally right.
Absolutely. And I think when the time is right, there's also a very big difference between not acting on something out of wisdom and not acting on something out of fear or laziness. When you know that the season isn't right for this, that is very different than saying I'm too afraid or that takes too much work. Like they're very different motivations behind waiting. So I think, again, that self-awareness part is key, of really tuning into yourself and asking yourself, truly, why am I not doing this? And if the answer is fear, I'd say push past it, lean into it, go for it. If the answer is laziness, get off your butt, get some momentum. But if it is truly that wisdom to know that this isn't the season, I think there's tremendous power in that.
I could not have said it better. I could not have said it better. You're right. I think the root, not the cause, but obviously, why? Why are you not doing it? Why are you not taking action? And I think there is a huge difference as opposed to, I'm lazy versus, I might not be ready. Or maybe, from a mental state, I'm just not in that position that I'd like to be.
Yeah. And I think it's also, sometimes you can be saying that, you know what, this is something I'm going to put on hold because I know that there's something more important and more pressing for me to do in this season. Like that idea of seasons is something that I'm absolutely so learning about and have learned about in the past couple months of my life, because I was a really high performing athlete and a high performing student who just kept pushing and pushing. And for me, I used anxiety as a performance enhancer to get to my goals. But in that, I created a really unsustainable pattern for myself where it didn't take in the needs of what I needed in that season. And I ended up crashing really bad and actually got very sick because of
Oh,
it. But basically, the turnaround lesson from that was learning that in different seasons, we're going to need to go at different speeds. So there are some times that I'm going to need to go 100 miles a minute, and that will be sustainable for a short amount of time. But there are other seasons I need to take and be more reflective. So really knowing yourself and what you need in every season is incredibly wise and important.